I come from just over the mountains in Stockbridge, Massachusetts, but have been many years away, and when I lived in Alaska for 25 years, Senator Gravel was my senator, so it's a pleasure for both of us to be here because he's also from Massachusetts, and last night I was down in Sheffield just right near where Shays' Rebellion was fought, and I was thinking about that rebellion and this rebellion and how now we don't have to go out there in the field with muskets because now, thanks to this direct democracy idea of Senator Gravel's, we have the dignity of a vote. And we don't have to necessarily even go out and protest in the streets if we can get that dignity of the vote. You know, I'm tired of the protesting, and I just want to start voting on things more and more. And that's what direct democracy is about, and part of my life's work is I'll carry on the Senator's work towards to promote electoral reform, and fundamental to that, of course, is the right of every citizen to take the initiative in a democracy and build the future that they want if other people want the same. And so it's a sadness that only 24 states in the District of Columbia provide their citizens with the protocols of direct democracy and empower their citizens with that. And so beyond the work of 9/11, this work will carry on. And we'll come to get a stronger democracy because we will never achieve the social justice we want, whether it's in labor, in peace, in education, healthcare, unless we have an electoral system, election system that works for us in all the multiple issue areas, whether it's presidential debates or gerrymandering or black box voting or what have you. But I decided, this being the 10th anniversary of the 9/11 movement, that this was the time to really devote to 9/11, and it's just wonderful that it's a double whammy for me because we've got the ballot initiative on the one hand and 9/11 Truth on the other. So we're putting the decade of deceit behind us, and we're opening up a decade of truth here, and it's going to be in our hands now. All these years we've heard talk about how we have to take America back, and then once the Democrats were in power, then it was the Republicans. We have to take our country back. Well, direct democracy is the only way we can take it back. They're not going to give it to us, and so we have to get out there and do it ourselves. We might have to hire people to help us to do that, and we will. All the volunteer efforts in the world, we don't have time for it. To make, in 2 months, we have to gain 100,000 signatures across this state. And we can't do that without some real help. That means people in the streets 8 hours a day, 5 days, 6 days a week. And those people need to be paid. So we need to pay them. And we need to raise the money to pay them, and it costs about $3 per signature is what the professional rate is. That's competitive, and we tried hard to discover whether the 9/11 community in Massachusetts was strong enough to carry the burden themselves, and we really looked into it, and the decision was made that we needed professional help. So at a cost of $300,000, we can do this. But we don't have $300,000. So decisions are being made on the fly. This is a very fluid situation. We started this thing just on the seat of our pants, and we've made it. We're in. We got $50,000 when we went to the Toronto hearings last week. From a movie producer over in France who just loved the idea. I don't know if you've seen the movie Amélie.
Oh yeah.
He's the producer, and he showed up in Toronto for the film festival up there, and he decided to come over and see what was going on at the Toronto hearings, which was a very sobering and wonderful event. the sincerity and gravitas with which they approached the issues was really inspiring. It was significantly like a court hearing, and they brought a great deal of solemnity to the whole affair, which helped us to step it up to the next level, and their support for Senator Gravel was very substantial. He came to those hearings as a skeptic, he told us. He really didn't think much of the issue. But by the time the 4 days of hearing was over and Mike had spoken, he came racing over to me before I even got my laptop shut, and he said, I'm in for $50,000. So we can build the kind of passion. The vision is there. And we just are reaching out for that next $50,000, because in the next 6 weeks we're contracted, or almost contracted. Tomorrow, if we can stretch this out a few more days, we're going to try, because we need to know where the next $50,000 is coming from, or we lose this $50,000, and so we're in that bind. So Mike is indefatigable. I mean, he's very fatigable. He's exhausted. This is really a grueling effort for him, but he's sure a trooper. He said that when he was in when he joined the military, he went into the infantry. This is how he said it. He looked at me and he said, George, when I was in the military, they put a shoulder patch on me that said, follow me. And so ever since then, it's been, okay, Mike, I'm with you. So, so he wanted me to just get up here, and he deals with the politics. And you'll love hearing him. But he wanted me to just run through a little memory thing, and you probably don't need it. It's just a memory trick that I use to remind myself of some of the issues and rattle them off pretty quick. And I use the word phase. Just remember the word phase, and P-H-A-S-E. So P stands for pulverization. What we saw when those Twin Towers came down was the pulverization of an immense quantity of concrete that formed a mushroom cloud, and we all saw it, and it was an explosion. We know that. Then the steel structure fell down, of course, and piled up in a nice, cleanly cut pile of rubble at the bottom, which they shipped off to China before the investigation even began. Then, so that's P, pulverization. H is heat. There was molten steel in the basements of the World Trade Towers and Building 7 that was molten for 3 months. It was molten. The last fire went out December 10th. Molten steel. To form molten steel, you have to have temperatures of 2,750 degrees. Jet fuel burns at about 1,400 degrees. So there's a real question. Well, there's no question, because we know that thermate, which was found in all of the dust, residue, energetic, still energetic. I mean, this stuff you can still trigger the heat out of it. Found in all of the dust. So they must have put so much of that thermate in there that there was just a lot of energy down there in those basements. So that's heat. Pulverization, heat. A is acceleration. Those buildings, well, I'll combine two. A is acceleration, S is symmetry. Those buildings, in order to have fallen down symmetrically into their own footprint, had to have experienced a complete global loss of any structure at all in order that they would fall as gravity would dictate in free fall. There had to be no support underneath the entire building for it to fall straight down. If there was a little resistance on this side, it would have fallen off to this side. The entire understructure of that building had to have been gone in an instant.